All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Smirking Gun. This is Rob here. Yeah, once again, just using my avatar here to do the talking. Like I've said, there's like 1,700 videos if you need to see me for some damn reason. We'll be back to on camera stuff as soon as we get some more things figured out here on my end. But until then, this is kind of the main way we'll be doing things, unless I'm with like a guest or I'm on a different show. So if you are finding this channel just now and you're liking what you see, well, or hear really, go ahead and hit like and subscribe, all that stuff. If you feel like it. But today is to me a very, very, very special day. This is a very special video for me. I don't even know how I didn't hype it up. I don't know. I felt like hyping it up every single day because after I talked about how I really enjoy, I have been just gobbling up Critical Role. I have I started with campaign 1 and two I got through the first like 20 some odd episodes. And as I was getting through those, I was told, "Hey, why don't you start, like if you start now on campaign 3, there's only, the way you're gobbling up campaign 1 already, you'd be caught up and you'd be able to watch every episode live." So I said, "Okay, I'm going to do that." So I dropped campaign 1 and started binging campaign 3. And I caught up and I've never missed not really missed an episode of campaign 3, at least partially. Sometimes I got to go to bed. A lot of times I got to go to bed. But early on, I was sticking it out, you know. And by when episode 30 something, 32 or something like came around, uh, it was like, oh my God. Um, and then during campaign 3, it just wasn't enough content. So I started watching campaign 2, and I have completed campaign 2 plus the reunions. And I'd gone back to campaign 1, still watching campaign 3. And now after where I started, where I left off in like episode 23, 24, something like that, I am now on episode 102. So I've been doing one shots. I've been like trying to go, okay, I got to stretch this out, man, because I'm about to run out of content. I'm getting real close to being like just weekly to weekly, Critical Role. So I've been watching the one shots, and I tried getting into Dimension 20, and I might have to try again because I do love Brennan. But, like, I don't know, there's a just look, you gotta like the characters, and I really enjoy the people on Critical Role just so much more. But, I think maybe what I really need to do is just stop worrying about, like, Dimension 20 and all this, and go for more, smaller channels like I usually do. I usually look for smaller channels when I'm looking for content anyway. So, I need to probably go into that. But ever since then, ever since I got into Critical Role, I was like, "Man, this sounds like such a fun thing to do, but I don't know, anybody that's doing it out here where I live, and it's happening, but I just don't know anybody." And with my, real bad, like, social anxiety, like, people that are like, well, how, if he has social anxiety, how can he do this? Well, this is like part of my therapy. Okay. Always has been. That's another thing. If you're new to the channel, welcome to my therapy session, which is this channel. Um, I work out my social anxiety by doing these things, but it's much harder to go out and do it. And so for a long time, I just didn't really think about it. And all of a sudden, just a few weeks back, I got asked by one of the vendors who comes into my job if I wanted to be a part of a D&D game. And I just said yes. And I mean, I just did it because I was like, you can't say no. You can't say no. I mean, if the person was abhorrent that was asking me, like, "Hey, you wanna be a part of a D&D game, and also, do you wanna go to, like, a fucking, MAGA white nationalist, Christian crazy shit, meeting?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm not I think I'll pass because 'cause I'm not sure what this adventure would end up becoming anyway." Probably be like, rounding up all the other creatures and the humans kill everybody. But, that's not the case, so I just jumped at the chance and, but immediately, and since this is the first session recap, I'm recapping all of it, bitch. It's like the Bible here, we went back to the beginning. In the beginning, Rob was told that Critical Role was really cool, and he ignored it. He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And even he'd see it in his YouTube feed all the time, and he never understood what the hell this Critical Role thing was. He'd just skip on past it, skip on past it. Anyway, that's how far back we're going practically. So I get jump at the chance and, I started getting nervous. I got excited and nervous at the same time. I was trying to figure out my character. That was the part that was freaking me out. Was just like, "What do I do? What am I gonna do? What's my story?" And once I tapped into the story, it became like it just started pouring out of me. And to the point where I had to like, man, I needed like an editor, right? It was like for just this sorry, frog in my throat. Uh just for this character, I felt like it needed an editor to keep me on track, and make sure that I wasn't like missing like if this happened, then how could this have happened? So it got like complicated pretty fast, especially since it's not like this massive story, but there's like it's the details that are important to this backstory. And so it's like important to make sure that like you don't leave any plot holes, any character holes where it's like if this happened there, if this person was here, how could he be there at the same time or something? But once I just kind of like let go and was like, okay, it's gonna happen. I had to find out like certain things I needed. How much did the DM need from me? Like all that. How much were we gonna figure out at the table? And also, I mean, just this earlier this week, I asked, or late last week, I think maybe I asked about, hey, are we rolling for our characters at the first session or what? And they actually didn't know, and I was glad that I had asked. This is the kind of thing where it's good to be that first time player, um, where you've got a lot of questions that maybe a newer DM doesn't hasn't thought of. So that can be helpful, I think, at times. It certainly felt appreciated on my end. But I nobody told me anything after that, so I went in, like, just kind of knowing what my character was, but I had none of my stats yet. So, to start off with, this'll be, like, as much as I'll give, I don't wanna give everything away about my character, not even to you all, because I plan on, um, like, you know, recapping these all the time, and we'll start, like, revealing more and more. But as of right now, I am playing as a halfling rogue. I'm gonna take when I hit level 3, I'll be taking assassin. Um, I took the background in criminal because of certain things that I'm just gonna be. My character's basically a criminal, like, or his whole life he's had to be a criminal. And like, well, what would be considered a criminal? Like his job, it to him, his job isn't being a criminal. Um, my character uh doesn't have a name. He only has a number, and that number, that he is using is number 7. Um, when he finds the group, we'll get to that, but, like, I get, like, a nickname or basically whatever in the first session. Um, I'll give you my stats. I have my character sheet. I don't know how to put it up on here, man, like, I was just gonna take a picture, but it looks lousy, and I wanted to make it look good if I put it up there. I did download one important picture, and that'll be popping up when we get to it. But as of right now, if anybody wants to keep track for themselves, this is the time to bust out your own paperwork if you want to follow along with my game from here on out. And I don't know where this is going. I might ask if I can start recording the audio for the games. It might get boring, but it might be something that y'all be interested in, or if you just like the recaps, that's fine too. And as these would go on, I'm sure that I would incorporate more and get more into it, and probably put a little more effort into like putting some images up and things like that, maybe or whatever. But anyway, um, so as of right now, my saving throws are dexterity and intelligence. I have a 5 in dexterity and a 4 into intelligence where the saving throws are. Uh, my current hit points are a 10. My hit dice, I have 10 hit points, y'all. This is level 1. Um, uh, my hit dice are 1d8. My armor class is 14. My initiative is +3. I have a speed of 25. My attacks, I have a rapier with a +5 attack bonus, and it does 1d8 piercing. I also have a short bow that is +5 attack bonus. It's 1d6 piercing. And I have 2 daggers that have attack bonus 5, +5, and 1d4 piercing. I also, since I'm a halfling, I have sneak attack. Well, yeah, and a rogue, and that's a 1d6 damage. For my class features, because of my race, I have brave, lucky, and naturally stealthy. Um, but as far as the rogue part goes, I've got criminal contact, thieves' tools. I am really good at chess, and my languages are thieves' cant, common, and halfling. Now, as far as my big stats go, I have my strength is 10 with 0 as the modifier. My dex, my dexterity is 17. Y'all, I got some like pretty decent rolls. I got like I think 4 15s. Um, and then like a 10 and a 12. So my dexterity is 17 with a +3 to it. My constitution is 15, and that's got a +2. I've got an intelligence of 15, and that's +2. I have wisdom that is 12 +1. And I have a charisma of 16 +3. Now, maybe that's just still middle of the road, but to me, this was like amazing. I was really happy. I was really, really happy with my rolls. Now, um, then with my proficiency bonus is +2, and I have a passive perception of 13. Um, my highlighted skills are acrobatics with 5, deception at 5, intimidation at 5, perception at 3, and my sleight of hand and my stealth are both 7. I have a 1 in animal handling, a 1 in history, a 1 in insight. That was one that hurt, man. I really wanted insight because I just kind of feel like my character, if he's so good at deception and everything, he should be good at insight too. So it's kind of a bummer. I got 2 in investigation, 1 in medicine, 2 in nature, 3 in performance, 3 in persuasion, 2 in religion, and 1 in survival. So that is my character stats. So anyway, like recruitment place, and they're looking for basically people, people to go out and do things for them. And there's this guy named Rebo who he runs that place and sends people out on missions. And this is all basically this like starting out point for your characters to join the ranks, rise in the ranks, blah blah blah. Become this, that, and the other. And right at the beginning, we get introduced to all the other characters. Let me grab a sheet here that I have because here's the thing, and I apologize to them if they ever hear this, but like I was so like deer in the headlights, but like super like if a deer in the headlights wasn't just getting hit by a car, you know what I mean? Like I was just I was just kind of let me find the paperwork I have here. I did write some stuff down. There's a ranger who is called Trail in the Woods. It's a tabaxi. There's Gemdo the dwarf. There's Ziggy, the half elf. Ziggy is great. Ziggy's what do you call it, deity or whatever is Major Tom, and he's looking for the man who sold the world. It's great. There's more spate, another half elf, more spit. Gotta say that right. That's also a half elf. Then there's Rennick, who is basically he calls himself human adjacent. He's I think he said hollow. He's definitely like undead. He's got a wolf named Otek. Two, three, four, five. Yeah, that's all six of us. Um, and so we're all put together. And my character, like I said, doesn't have a name. In fact, as they are all giving their names, I'm kind of like going like, well, what do you have to have our names for? What does it really mean? What does it matter? What does it matter that you guys know my name? This is my character, by the way, not me. But I think they got confused because I was already role playing. Like I was already just jumping into it. So I was literally as my character going, like, what do y'all need to know my name for? Isn't it good? I'm here. I'm good. I'm ready to fight. I can do whatever. But I was like, look, my name. I didn't. I don't have a name. I have a number, and they call me number 7. And I was like, but if we have to, we can just. And as I described myself, it kind of came out that my nickname would be Wispy, because I was like, I'm kind of a wispy little halfling. I'm all muscle, but I'm not underfed or undernourished, but like I could look a little bit better and a little bit healthier. Like I'm a little bit like, um, just kind of tired looking, haggard a little bit, um, and very much trying to be in. I want to be in a position to see everyone else in this room. I want to know where everybody else is, but at the same time, it's like I want everyone to be in my eye line, but at that, in some fashion, be in a place standing where nobody really notices me. So I'm using kind of like I need to use like a lot of my natural stealthiness to just kind of blend in. And I'm looking for anything. Any kind of notice of me, how if they notice me, what is their response, like blah blah blah. It's I think that I'm being subtle about it. Maybe I'm not being so subtle about it. Maybe it's obvious to the others that there's something wrong. And it doesn't help that I'm having conversations with myself. They can see me kind of mumbling to myself, and it sounds like I'm having a conversation. Well, in the meantime, we're being offered these two jobs. One is to go north, and one is to go west. My character comes from the west and is not in no way, shape, or form is in a hurry to go back west where he came from. So there's a job to go west where there's a cave and some goblins and some like some rewards in there. And to the north, there is a job to take this guy out there to inspect these statues that he found. He thinks there's something there. He wants some protection while they go and investigate and see what's up with that. After a lot of like kind of like just getting started like noise that I think a campaign probably makes, where we're all just kind of feeling things out, testing the waters, we end up going north. um there's a lot of, like, little banter here and there, and everybody's kinda looking at me, and I'm loving it. I'm loving, like, "Where's this guy coming from?" kind of vibe, like, "What? What is" like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm overdoing it or what, but I'm not trying to, like, ham it up, I'm just trying to, like, really do this, so I've gotta go all the way. It's you guys know, if I get into something, I will go all the way. So, sometimes to my detriment, we'll see how this goes. Um, but we end up going north. We end up also seeing a tiefling along the way, and she's there trying to offer us a job if, on our way back, if we're interested, she'll be there, with a job for us. Before we actually take the mission, though, to the north, we have to go to like a crafting place. This place they've got something for us. Basically, they want to keep tabs on us. They want to make sure that we don't just run off. So we're kind of being tagged, and my character is not at all interested in being under surveillance for any circumstances. But for right now, my character also feels like they don't really have a choice. There's not a lot of money right now coming in, and to get away, to get further away, it's going to cost more money, and I'm going to have to try to figure this out or die. So we go to the crafting place, and my character is just like there's things in here that regular people, everybody sees: chairs, tables, you know, all kinds of just regular ass furniture, things like that. Sorry, drinking my hot chocolate. But then there's things in here that most everybody has seen, and I'm looking at it like with such fascination, like I'm seeing new inventions, and it's just all these amazing things that I never knew existed. And it's like kind of overwhelming, and also putting me in a place where after when I realize that I'm getting lost in the what I'm witnessing around me, I have a freak out, and I panic, and I run off, and I kind of try to hide and not be noticed, and I'm having another conversation with myself, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, are you trying to get noticed? You're gonna walking around with this stupid look on your face, looking like you come from, like you've never been nowhere before. So we get this package. It's got some stuff in it that's good for the party, some scrolls of different kinds of protection, things like that. So we end up going north. So far, I can't really tap into anybody else's like motivations or anything. But again, I think I need to do a little bit better already at like maybe engaging everybody. But I didn't really see a lot of people giving too much up front either way, except for Ziggy, I think maybe. But we end up getting to where we need to go, and there's these three statues, and this was like our first puzzle, and this was kind of where we got like a little like, what the hell is, like, okay, like I wasn't quite like I'm a very visual person, so like he's telling us stuff and there's no possible way, and unless I was recording it, which now is what really makes me want to record, um to keep track and maybe take notes later, is like trying to write down everything that he's saying that's important to remember. Is like, oh my god, like I could sit here at home and I can hear Matt Mercer give some information out, and I'm retaining the knowledge because, hey, if I forget it, I can just rewind it, real quick. It's not easy to remember all this stuff. It really isn't. So when we get to this puzzle, it did cause like kind of a hiccup where it was like a start, but we were all trying to figure it out. But it just felt it like it felt like it was way too easy, and we weren't getting it. Like, if in retrospect, when I look at it, I'm like, how did we not see this? And again, I think it's because you literally start to just panic in in some fashion. It's like, oh, what do? We gotta figure this out. And the longer it takes for you to figure it out, the worse it gets. Well, there's some bodies at the center of this, like, kinda statue area, and you can see that there's an arrow in, like, one of the guys, and, like, one of them's, like, burned. There's a handle. You turn the handle, and you see an arrow shoots out of one, uh, statue's face. Fire comes out of, like, the center one, and, like, some kinda acid or something, comes out on, the first one. First one's the yeah. And you also see in front of these statues, there's these words or letters kind of jumbled up, like a place for letters. One has seven, one has four, and one has five. And it was a real brain teaser, all the way that they had it written down. We had to go over the information over and over and over again. Um, but oh my gosh, I'm missing a huge part. But we'll continue this, and I'll get to my like my super cool news about something that happened a little bit earlier. Um, but we figured it out. We separate all the words. The reason I just remembered something was because I did something that kind of teed off all the rest of it. Happened really, really fast. We figured out everything really fast after that. I figured out the one word that was like 7 letters. It was courage. And then boom, boom, we got the thing open. It was really cool. It was our first kind of all group moment to collaborate and start thinking together. And I thought that that's a really good way to get people to gel, is to give everybody a group problem, and go about as a group fixing it with like good feedback and stuff. Um, so this thing opens up, and the dwarf that hired us, he's with us. His name is Dorcas. Well, we all end up eventually going into this pit, this like cave, and there's bodies on the ground, like skeletons, nothing really on the bodies, rusted shit. There's statues that are just like the ones up top, but like a little bit with more detail. And there's something covered underneath like a big like tarp kind of thing, like thick sheet. And we start hearing like this voice in our heads, and depending on which one of the puzzles we solved, like who solved which puzzle, you would hear a different voice in your head. So mine sounded like a lion in my head telling me to let me go, free me, and all this stuff, and I'll do all this. And it was really clear right away to all of us that this thing was gonna kill us, that all these people, like, that this is basically like I don't I don't know, I guess whoever set this up was, like, wanting sacrifices or something, because if you take this thing out of there, we talked about taking this thing out of there that's, like, making these promises. We were like, it's like somebody said it was a Medusa's head, um, but I don't know. But we were, like, talking about taking it with, and I was like, "But if we take this thing with us, it's gonna be talking and the whole time. Let me out," like, so and it was closing, the doors were closing on us. It wasn't gonna stay open forever, and we were bouncing. The guy Dorcas, he was like, "Hey, what are you talking about?" Well, it's like, we came to investigate these statues. We investigated the statues, this thing opened up, this is down here. There's nothing really else that we can explore around here. We didn't do any extra exploring, and we would have, except the door was closing, and we didn't really have a good way of keeping it open. We didn't have I don't think anybody had an immovable rod or anything. So, we chose to get out of there. Well, Dorcas stays because he's just like, "No," like, he didn't understand, like, I guess he really thought we were gonna uncover this thing that was clearly gonna probably I mean, to all of us, it seemed like it was gonna kill us. So he stayed, and then we had to decide what we were gonna do. Were we gonna, like, just leave this guy, or were we gonna wait an appropriate amount of time, open it back up, and see what happened, and then go back down and see what was left? And that's what we ended up doing. Um, and we went down there, and all his stuff was there, but he wasn't. And the thing so, one of us took whatever he had, some armor and axe and stuff. Axe body spray is what he had, honestly. Um, his weapon, he just had a like I don't know, I'm just kidding, but he wasn't there, and this thing was still just going and going and going. More people will die if you leave me here like this. If you don't free me, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I suggested we put a note up or something, and I think maybe we did. I don't know. I'm not sure on that one. Like no loot or something. I think we also like came to the thinking that the more you tell people not to go down somewhere, they're just gonna do it. So whatever. I mean, maybe we should have tried to blow it up or something. I don't know. I don't. But we're level one. What do we have on us, right? And we went back, and that was the end of the session because we really thought that we would get like further uh, along. But I think that the puzzle kind of stymied us a little, tripped up a little also, and because they needed to help me set up my character sheet, that also took a little bit of time. So the next time, next Tuesday, will be probably be a little bit better streamlined and stuff. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I should say that we didn't do a lot of rolling. And what we did roll was pretty average, just some perception checks. There was no initiative, there was no attacks really, or nothing like that. It was all kind of, and figuring out, like, I could tell, like figuring out when to do things. And there were times where I wanted to ask, like, shouldn't we do this? Shouldn't we do that? But I didn't want to start like questioning the DM on my first fucking day playing Dungeons and Dragons myself. So, but the big thing is the very first, like, okay, I rolled for my character, right? That's just like regular ass like D6s or whatever. Like that's fine. You know what I mean? That's one thing. But the first real roll of the day of the campaign, of the first roll of the campaign. So I can't believe I'm like saying it over and over like an idiot. But the first actual roll for the campaign was a perception check. And I picked up my D20 that I've had. I have never rolled any of my die. And I took my D20 that has been sitting in my Ashton Graymore D20 freaking, holder that lights up and shit. It's been sitting there like sacred. Ah! And my first roll was a fucking natural 20. I swear to God, I took a picture of it. Here's the picture. I made sure to take a picture of it. There, I have witnesses. I have 6 other witnesses that my first ever roll was a natural fucking 20. And it was the first roll of the campaign was a natural 20. So I feel like, hey man, like whatever else happens, the dice gods welcomed me last night, and it made me feel so much better. I was just like, I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, what the fuck? How? I don't believe in signs. I don't believe in anything really. But that was like one of that's the best possible thing that could have happened, and it did. And it just, it's one of those times where you realize good things can happen to you just randomly. And it might seem like it was when you need it, but I think we always need a win. Everybody needs a win. A win feels good to almost everybody except for those who always win and just expect it after a while. So when you get a win like this, I mean, I'm smiling about it like an idiot right now. I want to make sure that D20 goes back in that little space where it's been sitting, and that's where it sits for all time. After I can't roll dice or I die or whatever, I'm like, make sure that D20 stays in there for all time and put with prominence of long time ago, great Uncle Rob's. See, you notice I said Uncle. Uh, Uncle Rob's legendary natural 20. You can't take that away from me. So that was my first recap of my D&D thing. I'll get better. And like I said, look, I'll give you guys a little bit more about my character at the end of this. So I come from out west. I come from a town. My name is Seven. Well, I'm going by Seven. I really don't want to give up too much. I really don't. I've said some of this already on a Twitch stream, so if you go to Smirking Rob Plays, you might be able to find it. But I've got a complicated past, and I'll just say that I'm definitely on the run. Okay, I mean it's pretty obvious that I'm a character on the run. I am fleeing, and the last thing that I knew, the only thing I knew at the time of running that was out there possibly waiting for me was this recruitment job. And I knew that if I could make it here to the recruitment center, if I could quickly put some money together, I could get the fuck out of Dodge for good, where no one will ever find me. And that's where I'll leave that part. And as the game progresses, I'll keep saying more and more about what I'm up to. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And again, if you liked what we were doing here, please hit the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe. And I'll see you all on session number 2. Peace out.